Hello everyone. In today's video, we are going to work on Module 10 Challenge Lab, Automating Infrastructure Deployment. Let us start the lab environment by clicking on Start Lab. Wait until the lab status changes to Ready and closed pop-up window. Click on Details, Show, and click on Download URL. And click on Access the multiple choice questions to bring up the lab questions. Switch back, close the pop-up, double click on the text file, which include sending URL to the management console. Open a new browser window, paste in the address bar, press enter to load the management console for the lab. So in today's lab, we are going to use AWS CloudFormation to automate the deployment of our website. First, let us go to Cloud9 IDE by typing Cloud9 in the service search box and click on Cloud9. Next, click on the open link beside Cloud9 instance to open the Cloud9 IDE in the new tab. First, we are going to create a empty YAML file. Click on File, New File, and click on File, Save. Replace untitled one with uppercase S3.yaml and click on Save. Paste these two lines here. So to increase the font size, actually click on here and increase the font size to, let's say, 18. And we need to paste these three lines. Press enter to go to next line and paste. Control S to save the file, or you can use File, Save to save it. So there are two things need to be noticed for YAML file. First, YAML file is very strict in terms of indentation level. Each indentation level needs to be indented by 2 spaces. So for example, S3 bucket here needs to have 2 spaces in front of it, and next level needs to have 4 spaces in front of it. Second, if we want to put a value after the semicolon, we need to first include a space. For example, for this description, I type space and then cafe S3 template. Control S to save the file. Next, we are going to run this command to create a stack. Paste. Press enter. The stack has been created successfully. Let's go back to Management Console, search CloudFormation to bring up the CloudFormation console. Notice that a new stack called Create Bucket has been created. Wait until the status changes to Create Complete. Once the status is changed, click on the stack name and events to see that a S3 bucket has been created. To verify that, type S3 in the search box, go to S3, and notice that a new S3 bucket has been created. Let's go to the question first. Was the S3 bucket created? Yes. What the name was given it? So look at it. It starts with the bucket name followed by the logic ID that we specified here in the template, and with random letters and numbers. So C, submit. Second, which region was the bucket created in? It's in the US East, and it was created in the region in which the create stat command was run. This is exactly what's happening here. So CLI client has its own specific region. I can set up region other than US East 1, so it's not always US East 1. Click. Third, define S3 bucket. How many lines of code do you need? We need actually 2, so select this. Submit. Okay, let's move on. So next, we need to upload the static website contents to the buckets. So I go to copy and paste the command here. Zip file uploaded. So press enter to copy over to S3. No such bucket. Remember, we need to replace this with actual bucket name, which we can find here. Let's select the bucket name, go back, and replace this with the bucket name. Perfect. Let's hit enter to run it. So go back to the S3 bucket, click on refresh to see, yes, the file is actually being uploaded. So next, we are going to go to this website. Let's make it larger. And we're actually going to go to S3 at the here. Going to which one? The bucket. So S3 bucket. Okay, so filter YAML, and I'm going to click on example to grab a example. So I'm going to look for example for the static website. Here we go. So I'm going to copy everything from here to here. Yeah, so with this selected, I go back, modified YAML file. So this is the instruction. So okay, go here right after I paste it. Make sure that I'm aligned with the tab. The next one, property aligned with the tab, because this is how this was. Okay, we then need to remove the lines we don't need. Okay, let's go through one by one. We need access control. We don't need a bucket part name that will be automatically created for us. No, this 2 lines for now. Website configuration, we need index, we don't need arrow, we don't need the routing rules. We need to keep the deletion policy. Outputs. Oh, looks good. So Control S to save the updated S3. So remember, a rule of thumb is every time you update or you created a YAML file, you need to validate it. So we are going to validate it by running this script. Press enter. here we go. So for example, if we delete the leading space here and run the validation again, we'll get validation error, right? That's one thing. And second, if we remove some of the indentation, for example, remove the space in front of this, and we run the validation, we will get a validation error as well. So let's bring it back and run the validation again, and here we go. So next we'll run the update stack statement to update the YAML file and push the updates to the CloudFormation stack. So let's go back to CloudFormation here. Cloud4. We notice that the stack is in the update in progress state. Wait until it's done. If I click on refresh link, it's being updated completely. So in fact, if we click on the stack name and click on output, we'll see this is a newly added output, and if we click on it, it will bring us to the static website. So this concludes challenge number 1. Let's click back to go back to the management console. And next, we're going to storing templates in a version control system. We will do that by search code commit in the search window. And then we click on CF templates repo to open the repo. Click on templates. There are actually a couple of YAML files there. Open StatLab. So this is basically a sample YAML file that the lab is actually using to provision our lab environment. As you can see, in this case, it creates a Cloud9, create code commit, etc. So we need to clone the URL by click on clone URL, clone HTTPS, and copied this endpoint. Go back to IDE, move up a little bit, clear it, and run a git clone command. So by the way, code commit is a git server, so we can use git client to interact with it. So paste the endpoint, press enter to clone the repo. So next we're going to CF and check the git status. Everything's up to date. So next we are going to create a new network layer by using the template1.yaml. So let's expand this. Template1, right click on it, duplicate, and rename as cafe-network. So make sure you type the name correctly. So double click on it, move down a little bit to see the contents. It's actually creating VPC, Internet Gateway, and public route table, and publish subnet. So we are going to first to update the description. Remember, start with a space and type network layer for the cafe. Ctrl S to save it, to trigger some changes. So first, then next, let's take a look at the code pipeline setup. Go back to the code commit and expand pipeline, click on pipelines. And you can see there are two failed pipelines, which is expected. Click on network pipeline. So the source commit is successful, the deployment failed. Let's click on this ID to see what exactly the error is. So the stack exists, but did it failed? Let's go and change to see what is. So let's go back. So by default, this pipeline is looking for a template called cafe network.yaml to execute. If it does not find this particular file, it will throw the error message. So let's commit this file into code commit to fix that problem. Let's clear, and we will then run the git status command. So we notice that one file has been added, so we will just copy paste this command to commit that change. Git status. Okay, everything's up to date, and have to use git push to push the change to code commit. So let's verify that by click on source, code commit, repo, CF template repo, templates, and here we go, the CAF network is there. So look, let's go back to pipelines, and now the change triggers the network pipeline. So let's go into it. Let's wait a few more minutes. And as you can see, the deployment is now successful. Let's click on the execution ID to see the deployment details. So, and click on change set to see the change. Next, let's go back to the CloudFormation template or CloudFormation console. And we see that a update cafe network stack has been created and is successful. Let's click on it and let us notice the events. See the public route has been created, VPC HW has been created, and notice that there's no output, so we are going to create some output next. So we have the next step, we need to update the network stack by adding following lines to the YAML file. So Let's go back to this example. Notice that the output is at the same level as resources, so that's something needs to be very careful when we paste it. We need to paste all the way to the end. So one way to do that is to click on the arrow beside resources to expand the whole resources under it. Press enter. Now we can use the back key to go back to the same level as the resources and paste the outputs to ensure that the indentation level matches. So, and Control S to save it. As always, we need to validate this template. So we are going to run AWS CloudFormation validate templates command. The template is called templates cafe network.yaml, and it's a valid YAML file. So yeah, so it's been validated. So next we need to commit change to GitLab. We run git status again. So there's one more file. So let's see if we any script we can. Okay, so let's bring up the git add. So I have to change it to it. We commit by put a new command, new message like add output. Here we go. Git status and push it over to code commit. Perfect. Let's go back to code commit. Repositories, templates, and click on craft network. And scroll down to the end. Yes, the output is there. So let's take a look at the pipeline. And yes, it triggers another deployment. So this is a whole flow for automated code deployment, right? So you commit some change into the version control system, in this case code commit, which automatically triggers a deployment. Wait until the status becomes deployed. Now the deployment is successful. Let's go back to the CloudFormation. So click on the update cafe network. So click on output, and this time you see that we added two outputs. One public subnet and the other is VPC ID. So this is the change we have made. So next we are going to define a EC2 instance resource in the template. I'm going to use this template to .yaml, right click on it and click on duplicate. select it, rename to TAFE-APP, press enter and double click on it. So this is a template to create AWS EC2 instance resource. So for those of you who just want a working solution, you can actually click on the link below this video to access my GitHub repo, which contains the completed copy of app.yaml. You can just go there, copy everything, and paste here. Select all, Ctrl V, paste it to continue with this lab. But I do strongly suggest you to follow me along to get some practice in creating cloud formation templates for EC2 instances. In fact, I'm going to follow the instruction by clicking on this document to get and select YAML. So first, I'm going to copy this YAML file by clicking on this button and paste it here. So we go to line 13, press Ctrl V. So we need to put this instance type parameter under parameters, but there's already a parameters here, so we need to remove this line and make sure the instance type parameter is actually at the same level as the latest AIM ID and the Cafe network parameter. So the default is T2 small. We need to change this, and here's T2 small. And another T3 small and T3 micro. T small, T3 micro, that's fine. Description, enter T2 micro, T2 small. Type this again. Replace this. Yeah. And the default is T2 small. Ctrl S to save it. So using create a EC2 instance resource. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to go back to this document we've watched before. Click on back. I'm going to find the EC2 instance syntax. Come back here. Let's select Amazon EC2 and the Amazon EC2 instance. So click on here and click on YAML. Here is all the properties. We can even look at the example to probably just copy one example over here. So go back to the console. So Under resources, there's a cafe security group, and instance should be at this same level. Let's say close this and press enter. Enter again, hit the back to align with this and paste it. This is a place we are going to config our EC2 instance. So look at the instruction. The logic ID will be cafe instance. So this is this. Remove the space. Type instance. Image ID. We're going to reference this latest MIID. So here's the syntax for reference. And paste the ID. What else we need? Instance type. So first of all, we don't need the block devising map. That's for EBS attachment. We don't need it. But what about instance type? Let's go back to the document and look down the syntax. So instance type is called instance type, right? So copy this back. It's called instance type, and do we have yes, we created these parameters here, so need to reference this guy. Next, key name. Okay, so next is key name. Use the following line of code. So what does this mean? This actually look up at the mappings that's been defined. It says based on the region we are in, we use different key pairs. Like if it's in the US East one, we use Voke. If it's in the US West 2, we use Cafe Oregon, which we are going to create instance profile. So what is instance profile? So let's say instance profile is called IAM instance profile. So let's copy this and making sure there's no space, extra space. So remove this extra space. And what is IAM? Okay, so we can always use cafe row here. That's good. Next, we need to copy and paste this attribute under here. So again, the indentation, right? So you will paste it, or the indentation has been changed. We need to fix it by select this and press tab to move right. Press tab and then again 3 times to make that indentation correct. So let's look at this. Subnet FM group. So it looks good. So basically what this field line means is to attach a ENI, Elastic Network Interface, to this instance. And if you look deep into it, you will notice that it has a subnet associated with it, and in fact, the security group was attached to the networking interface. So we also need to include user data as one of the properties. So select all. Let's go here. So okay, I'll expand this network interface. Go here, make sure it's aligned and paste. Right, so user data is aligned with the other properties, and we need to fix the next level by highlighting all the user data. Press tab to increase the indent once and twice. So basically what this user data is doing is to install the LAMP stack and start the web server as well as the MariaDB database and start the application. So yeah, I think that's it. Let's Control S, and again, don't forget to validate the template. So we'll run validation cafe pp.yaml, and we'll get no error, so it's a good. Next, we are going to commit the change to co-commit. Check get the status. There's one new file. Get add templates cafe add. Right. So and we'll want git commit. Message is, for example, add cafe app.yaml. So the file is template cafe app YAML. So check the status again. And push the change. Awesome. Let's go back, verify it. Go to code commit. Click on the repo templates. We do now see this new YAML file. So if we expand the pipeline, click on pipelines. You'll notice that the cafe app pipeline is in deployment in progress. Wait until it is done. Now the deployment is completed. So let's go to the CloudFormation console to see what has been created. So CloudFormation. So as you can see, a new stack called Update Cafe App has been created. So let's click into it. Events. So yeah, you can see an instance has been created. So two resources has been created. One is cafe instance, the other is the security group. So let's check the output. Okay, so things look good. But let's go back to the EC2 instance. I click on EC2. and click on running instances. So yes, so this is the server that we just created. Remember, we set the default instance type as t2.small. That's why the t2.small instance is being provisioned for this one. So here's the public IP address, we copy it. So what else we have? Yeah, so the instance is running this user data right now. Let's wait a few minutes. So, okay. So the IAM instance profiles using cafe role. Let's verify that. Go to security. Yes, the proper role has been attached. So let's open new browser window, type HTTP and paste public IP address and type cafe. And we notice that the region is in US East 1A. This is instance ID. So we've successfully launched a dynamic website using CloudFormation template. So let's answer those questions. Question number 4, go to parameters tab of the update stack with validity C4 latest AMI. So let's go back to the CloudFormation console. We click on update cafe app stack. The latest AMI ID is a parameter. Click on parameter. So we know that is this one. Amazon AMI HVM, so the last one. Latest, yes. Click on submit. Go back. Number 5. Info tab. Info tab. What's the ARN of the IAM role that grant permission to create an update? So, as showing here, it's a custom CFN role, CloudFormation role. Let's go back. Last one. Navigate to the code commit. Okay, so let's go to code commit. Choose commits, and in the commits list, so commit, go to this repo. And click on commits, and we noticed that by clicking to any one of those commit ID, we will see the changes of the file, right? So it's the details of what lines was changed. Click on submit. Let's go back. So now we are going to duplicate the infrastructure in a second region by leveraging the same CloudFormation templates. So first, we are going to run this command to create a stack in US West 2. So go back to Cloud9 Move up a little bit. Let's clear it. Console and paste. Yes. So it's been successfully created. So go back to the CloudFormation console and we switch to US West 2 Oregon region. And as we can see, the update cafe network stack is in great progress. Wait a few minutes until it's completed. So once the status changes to create complete, go to VPC and double check the region is Oregon. Click on VPCs and the cafe VPC has been also created in this new region. So under here we're going to go to the EC2 console by typing EC2 and click on EC2. And make sure we're still in our Oregon region. And under network and security, click on key pairs and choose create key pair. Name it as Cafe Oregon. Remember, in the CloudFormation templates, we specify different key pairs for different regions. So this is the key pair needs to be created for US West 2. So let's go here, click on PPK, yes, click on create key pair. So go back. Yeah, this is what this is about. So next we need to copy the template, Cafe app template to S3 bucket here. So let's go to S3 console. We need to select the repo bucket. So let's see, repo bucket is right here. So let's copy the bucket name, go to the ID. So clear it first and run AWS S3 copy templates cafe app S3 location bucket name, paste it here and /. So upload it and go here, refresh it. So this is the uploaded file. And click on here, copy the object URL. So let's go back to CloudFormation. and make sure we're still in the Oregon region. So this time we are going to create the instance of a EC2 instance by manually create a CloudFormation stack. So click on stack with new resource. So paste the S3 URL here we just copied and click on next. So create a stack name, let's say my stack name, my stack. So as you can see, we can specify the parameters. For example, for the instance type, by default is T2 small, but in this case we have the flexibility to choose any other instance type that's being allowed by my template. So I specified allowed value here. Also I include a default value, and here I can choose from that allowed value list to override the default one. So let's say this time I'm going to use T3 micro. Anything else? No. And click on next. Okay, so just have to no space. Click on next. Leave all the options as is. Click on next and click on submit. So wait a few seconds until the creation is completed. So now the creation is completed. Let's go back to the EC2 console. And click on instances. And we notice that a new instance has been launched. And let's take a look at the other options. For example, the instance type is t3.micro as we selected. The IAM role is the old one. Good. And if you scroll down, you will see that actually the key pair is the one that we just specified. And note down the IPv4 address and click on to copy the IP address. Open new tab, type http, paste it, /cafe, press enter. Now we can see that the same cafe application has been successfully launched in US West 2A region. So this concludes today's lab. So lastly, don't forget to submit by click on this blue submit button and click on yes to submit the questions. Wait for a few seconds. So in fact, for this lab, it may take several minutes until the submission reports gets generated, so be a little bit patient. And don't forget to keep a screenshot of the submission report and attach to the assignment as a proof that you have completed the lab. So close it, and finally we need to sign out from the management console, and we need to click on End Lab to terminate the lab environment. And this concludes the video for today. I will see you in the next time.